Hey, Stratton, if you can hear me, we're going to need you to talk. We're having live stream. Okay, Stratton, one more time. We're going to need you to talk at the top of the hour because our live stream.
Oh, we're good.
Did you close it?
We're good.
Did you turn it off?
I don't know.
Okay, yeah, he turned it off. All right, thanks.
That's what it was. Okay.
Okay, so then are we going to keep.
Audio off because we're live now.
So this is not.
We're 1 minute out.
Good.
We're delayed. They're delayed.
All right, everybody ready?
Good morning, this is Stratton.
Here we go.
We are going to be going soon to 899 Main Street, Unapologetic Coffee, where Swarts and Peter Hall are waiting to meet some great listeners to WNED Classical and tell you all about how it should go. They're getting set up now. I'm sure Peter's offering that huge ton of coffee he drinks in the morning. But right now it's time for the Mozart Rock at 9 o'clock. And it begins with the Flute Concerto number 2 in
We're going to do
G.
the Mozart first because we had a little. Okay, so then we'll come. So we're live here.
I'm going to cut to it.
We're not looking at them right now.
Okay, so we're going to come to you guys live on YouTube.
Oh. I have to behave.
Ready?
I'm ready. I'm ready.
Ready? For YouTube? Take it.
Morning, Mark Swartz. Good morning, Peter Hall, and good morning to everybody. We're at Unapologetic Coffee in the Best Self building on 899 Main Street. Oh yeah, I have.
Let's hold up our coffee.
It's very good, and we're here for the next 2 hours. If you want to come down and say hello and yitz a bit with us and get a good cup of coffee, that's for sure. But the reason that we're here
is fundraising.
That's right.
That's why we're here. And to make it a little more fun, we're inviting you to come down to Unapologetic Coffee. They have different brews here. They also have decaf. I love some of the names of the coffees they've created. One of them is I Said What I Said. I like that one.
Ooh, yeah.
And then I noticed 2 coffees side by side, or as we say in Buffalo, side by each. And they are Hustle and Flow. 2 different coffees. You can get Hustle, you can get Flow, or you can buy a bag of each, Hustle and Flow. So come on down, 899 Main Street.
That's it.
And join us for a chat, conversation, and some free swag if you come on in.
Oh yeah, that's right. And when you look at 899 Main Street, you'll say, this isn't a coffee shop, this says Best Self. We're inside the Best Self building, so just come on in, and we're just off to the left there. You'll see us, the 2 good-looking guys at the table.
Oh, and we're also here. That's right. On YouTube. Well, I'm loving this because now I can tell my millennial son, your old man is finally a YouTuber.
There you go.
So let's talk about fundraising. Let's
Okay.
talk about Pledge, which we don't always do on Buffalo Toronto Public Media YouTube. But it's important to know, especially in this day and age, that we are primarily funded by listeners. And that's the way it was set up by Congress way back in the 50s and early 60s. And it was set up that way because the idea was if the people who use the service don't want to support it, then why should the government support it? Now, that's not how they think over in Europe. They think, well, it's a government enterprise. We should support classical music on the radio. But here in the United States, we say, if you don't like it, well, then don't send in your money. But I think you do like it. As a matter of fact, I know you like it because it's a great, great source of wonderful programming, WNED Classical. And the way to show how much you like it is to give us a call right now at 1-877-511-1017, or as we love to say, go on the web to
WNED.org. I knew you'd have that phone number memorized. You
well,
were
sort of
looking around,
memorized.
but that's-
Well, at the moment of truth, it's always, and this is true. You know,
What?
well, and Stratton has had this happen to him too. A couple of times we're at home, we're listening, and
Yeah.
something's being offered on the air, some giveaway or whatever, and we get excited. We go, "Oh man, that's cool! I got a call." completely blank.
Yeah,
completely
I know
blank.
how that
So
happens,
I always
yeah.
like to look
Right,
before
right,
I speak.
Right, and there's another number for WBFO, also another Buffalo Toronto public media station, and another number for PBS, I believe.
For the WNED TV,
For TV,
right?
yeah. So, but classical, you want to give to classical and say, hey, we love this stuff. 1-877-511-1017. That's the number to call. Winter membership drive. We're only going through Tuesday or Wednesday next week. Tuesday next week. So the time is short. We're doing short breaks on the air to keep the music coming. We kind of did a similar thing last fall, and people loved it, and it was successful. So we're asking for you to make a donation today. Say, yeah, I kind of love this new membership drive thing of short breaks, lots of music. 1-877-511-1017.
Now, this isn't exactly how we are when we announce the classical music. One of the big differences is, we're in front of our own control panel. The other one is we have earphones on. Not earphones with a microphone, just earphones. The microphone is always separate. And the reason we like to wear earphones is because every once in a while, if you get too close to the microphone and you have a phrase like Peter Piper picked a peck of pickled peppers, you do what they call popping your peas.
Pop your peas.
And right now, we're just trusting that we don't pop our peas. But I'll let you in on a little secret. If you ever are in front of a microphone, maybe at church, you've got to do a reading, or you're accepting an award for Citizen of the Year and you have to make a short speech, don't talk directly into the microphone.
On the side like that.
Talk across it so
Right.
that if you do pop a pea, what they call a plosion, it goes that way and not into the microphone. Should we give away all our secrets? No, keep going.
Well, another thing is you can just give a light puff of air with the pea. So don't pop it like that. Use a WUMP. That was the first radio station I was on at Amherst Central. Were you there when that was?
I
when that
know.
Was cooking?
Hey, oh yeah, we're both Go Tigers.
Yeah.
Yeah. We're both graduates of Amherst Central High School.
Right.
And we were both in, although you can actually sing, I kind of faked my way into it. We were
good.
both into the 16-man male glee club.
Right, Varsity Singers.
The Varsity Singers.
Yeah,
Did you guys have the white tennis sweaters?
No, we what did we wear? We had white turtlenecks and then a navy blue shirt with Varsity Singers logo
Well,
on it. Yeah.
okay.
Yeah, we were special.
You were special. No, back in the day, it was a white shirt and the white. I guess you call it a tennis sweater, button, cardigan.
Right,
Yeah.
right.
With very
60s.
very preppy, very collegiate. We thought.
Right.
And did you also tell lame jokes before every song?
Our director did, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, we did silly things, stupid things. It was amazing that we didn't get kicked out of a couple of the places. And some of the songs we did, Company Q Whistle March and what was that one? Oh, standing on the corner, watching all the girls go by. We couldn't do that today.
That's
It's not
true.
allowed.
That's true.
No.
Things have changed.
Things have
Times
changed.
Did
Yeah.
they still have a Varsity Singers at Amherst
Yes,
Central High School?
yes. I was talking to
Right.
Rosemary Dayton recently. She's retired now. She was the choral director after 77. I think she started in 78. But
Yeah.
they're still cooking. In fact, I saw them on the website.
Okay.
And the Sweet 16s, the girls.
So, oh, right, the Sweet 16s, the Varsity Singers. Now, what about the operettas?
Operettas, I was in those. Were you?
Okay, I was not actually on stage for the operettas. I was on stage for the plays,
Oh,
both
okay.
junior and senior year.
Okay.
Operettas, I was in the pit playing double bass.
Oh, nice,
Yeah.
nice. I didn't know you were a bass player. See, we're learning all these things about Peter Hall. He's been
Well-
on the air for years, and we're just learning he's a double bass player.
I was trying to
You
play
was?
the double
Oh,
bass
okay.
for the high school musical.
I see.
But hey, I had a great time.
Yeah.
I had a great
What shows were you in?
I was in definitely the Music Band and Oklahoma.
Okay, nice.
So, two good
Nice.
ones.
Yeah.
Two very
What year
good
was
ones.
Music Man at Amherst?
Music Man would have been 19. Give me a second here. 1966.
66.
Yeah.
Yeah, we did it again in 76 for the bicentennial.
Okay.
I was in the quartet for that.
Yeah. Well, also, Music Man, 1976. I mean, you
76
kind of have to
trombones.
do it.
Yeah. Oh,
Yeah.
yeah. Yeah, it
Did
just
the whole
made
audience
sense.
get up and shout and scream along and sing 76 trombones?
Not
Led
that
the
I
big parade?
remember, no.
Oh, okay.
They might have been screaming to have it end or something, you know.
No, we nobody did that, but I thought it was great. Now I had kind of a misguided opinion. I have since been made aware that many high schools in Western New York put on absolutely first-rate high school musicals.
Oh, yeah.
And have for years. But at the time, you know, when you go to Amherst. I guess this is probably true of all kids who go to high school. You think your high school is not only the best, but
Well, it
pretty
was,
much
wasn't
the
it?
only high school worth attending, and that you're the only ones who put on musicals.
Right. Well, we knew other schools put on musicals, but our school did have a good reputation.
Fabulous
Walter
reputation.
Rice
Yes.
was a fantastic leader of that. Joe's signaling to us.
Stand by.
Stand by. YouTube folks, we're going on the radio.
Still up, mics down. Good. So, you guys are clear for a second? So Stratton is gonna back announce the music,
Oh,
okay? Just for this one. A countdown, and we're going into a pledge break that will be on YouTube and on the radio.
gotcha.
Okay, great.
So we're 30 seconds out.
Gotcha.
And then I'll. Stand by. I'll give you a cue. Yep, go ahead.
Well, good morning. Mark Swarts here with Peter Hall. We're at Unapologetic Coffee at 899 Main Street in Buffalo. We're in the Best Self building, and we're also on YouTube, so folks on the radio can go to the Buffalo Toronto Public Media YouTube page and see us live. We're on camera. But we're here to talk to you today about supporting your classical music service. We're a public music service, and it's the winter fundraising drive. Very important. If you haven't yet donated to WNED Classical, now's the time to do it. And the phone number to call is 1-877-511-1017. Good morning. I'm Mark Swarts here with Peter Hall. We're at Unapologetic Coffee on Main Street, 899 Main Street in Buffalo. We're in the Best Self building. If you'd like to come down and see us, get a great cup of coffee, join us, have a little chat. We're also on YouTube. If you can't come down, check us out on the Buffalo Toronto Public Media YouTube channel. And the reason we're here is because it's our winter fundraising drive, asking for your financial support today. 1-877-511-1017. You can also donate online at WNED.org or with your smartphone in the free WNED phone app.
It's a kind of a unique, well, it's not kind of unique, it is a unique service here out of Buffalo, New York, WNED Classical. And I was thinking the other night, Mark, about, you know, similar things. Some people have Pandora, and they stream classical on Pandora. My Pandora experience is they have a somewhat limited playlist.
Okay.
And you start to hear the same thing
Right.
way too often.
Right, right.
We're in the business of expanding our playlist,
Right.
and I think that Rachel back at the station is doing a wonderful job.
Fantastic.
Introducing new music all the time. I'm always quite surprised and thrilled to say, hey, you know, we've never played that before. Let me play that now. So I love that. I think we're better than Pandora, which also costs money. And if you want the subscription, there are subscription services, but again, they tell you how much to pay, and you don't have a choice in the matter. And then, let's see, what else is there? Well, you could play your own CDs.
You could, or your own vinyl.
Yeah, you could. But I'm incredibly
have that.
lazy. I
I'm done
really
with that.
enjoy turning on the radio and having you do all the work.
Exactly, exactly. And we have a huge library, and you know, we've been doing this for, well, since 1977.
It's 48 years.
48 years, and it's been made possible because of financial contributions from listeners just like you. You have made it happen, and you will continue to make it happen when
Yes,
you
sir.
continue to make financial contributions. The number again is 1-877-511-1017 or at WNED.org.
Hey, I wanted to jump in. Since you mentioned that we went on the air almost 48 years ago, in April 1977, folks who haven't heard the story, we're going to go back to one of our longtime presidents, Mike Collins. I know some of you will remember Mike Collins. At the time, Mike said what this city needs is a classical music radio service, a public radio service. And he needed money to get this venture up and going. And he went hither and yon, went to some banks. They laughed him out of the boardroom, said,
wanna
what are
do
you,
what?
nuts?
Yeah.
You're going to play classical music. Nobody listens to classical music. And then you're going to ask people to voluntarily donate money by calling a phone number? Get out of here. Well, it took quite a lot of convincing, but thank goodness Mike is a tenacious fellow, and he kept at it, and that's why we're here today. When people said it couldn't be done, it's been done for 48 years in a row, and we're looking now towards our 50th anniversary in 2027. We'll get there if, and only if, you continue to support this station. The number is 1-877-511-1017, or as we say, 1-877-511-1017. Contribute whatever you can. It really is true. No amount is too small, no amount is too great. And if there is an amount that you think, you know, I'd like to give, but I can't quite afford that, then break it up into monthly chunks and become what we call a sustainer. Do it, make your pledge monthly. That's what I do.
Right.
Why not?
Absolutely.
1-877-511-1017.
And if you hear the grinder in the background, again, we're at Unapologetic Coffee in the Best Self Building, 899 Main Street. Come on and join us, or join us on YouTube. We're there at Buffalo Toronto Public Media. And while you're making your donation, we're going to go back to music. Up next is the overture. We were talking about operettas on YouTube. This is Candide, an operetta with the music by Leonard Bernstein. St. Louis Symphony Orchestra now on WNED Classical. And Leonard Slatkin led the St. Louis Symphony Orchestra on WNED Classical. I'm Mark Swarts here with Peter Hall. We're at Unapologetic Coffee in the Best Self building at 899 Main Street in Buffalo. We'll be here until 11 o'clock. If you want to stop by and say hello, pick up a great cup of coffee and join us. Join us for our winter membership drive, asking for your pledge of support at 1-877-511-1017.
The coffee is very smooth, and we also have some swag here for fans of
that's right.
WNED Classical. Come on down. We've got some goodies, some giveaways, so join us, and you can meet Mark Swarts. He's the voice you hear Monday through Friday in the morning from 6 until
11.
11?
Yes.
Oh, wow, that's a long time.
Well, someone has to do it.
Well, that's true. Someone has to do it, but thank goodness it's not me. I wanted to talk to you actually about that, Mark.
All right.
When you call 1-877-511-1017, you can help make sure that you can wake up with a friendly voice, Mark Swarts, and some great music by, all your faves, Mozart, Beethoven, Rossini. You know what I'm talking about. Great classical music can be yours, and it can continue to be yours. We've been here in the morning for you for 48 years, not always with you. I'm not going to ask how old you were, but I know you weren't around. You weren't announcing 48 years ago.
In 77, I was a senior in high school.
Okay.
Yeah.
Just dreaming of one
Dreaming
day.
of-
I'm going to be a morning jock.
Actually, I was a hot pop jock in our high school because we had a radio station there. It was WUMP. Tommy
Really?
Atkins built it, and it was a great, fun experience. But this is much better, I have to say. A lot more professional, and the music is great. And I know that you're listening right now because you think the music is great. So, 1977 is when we started here at WNED, and it's continued on like this through all these years because of financial support from listeners. This is a public music service. That means over 50% of our income comes from listeners just like you. We wouldn't be here if it wasn't for financial contributions. Maybe you've never given to WNED Classical before. Maybe you've just tuned into us recently and you say, hey, I like that service. Well, it's here because folks through the years have been giving very generously. Consider this. Consider that maybe it's time for you to give generously so the musical service can continue into another many years. As Peter said, 48 years. 1-877-511-1017 is the number to call to make a donation.
Now, I'm not going to disagree with generously, but
Okay.
I do want to remind folks that, when Mark says generously, he has a dollar amount in mind, but he's not going to tell you because we don't tell you how much to pledge.
Right. They
You know,
won't let
I
you.
have an amount. Maybe the amount that you have when we say generously is like, whoa, hey guys, that's a little rich for my blood. I totally get that. That's why we don't tell you how much you should give. All we should do say is that, well, we think you should do something. And I think for a lot of folks, $5 a month is quite affordable. $5 a month, if that works for you, you can be part of our Sustainer program. That means that you, on a monthly basis, sustain the music, not only in your life, but in the lives of everyone in Western New York and Southern Ontario. By the way, speaking of Southern Ontario, that is an international phone number. Dial 1-877-511-1017. I'm going to say that again. 1-877-511-1017. Be generous, whatever generous means to you, but be quick, please, because we're running out of time. This pledge drive is almost over.
That's right. We're not going to be here next Friday. Now's the time to do it at 1-877-511-1017. Thank you for making your donation. Well, let's get back to the music. Little Franz Schubert music. Here's the fourth movement from the Symphony No. 1 on WNED Classical.
Hey, we're
Hey.
here at Unapologetic Coffee,
Here we
courtesy of YouTube. And we have a very rich YouTube presence on Buffalo Toronto Public Media. If you haven't noodled around yet, please feel free. We have all sorts of live concerts we've recorded, interviews, conversations, parts of TV programming. It's quite a thing. Buffalo Toronto Public Media YouTube channel. I'm Peter Hall, here with Mark Swarts. We are currently at Unapologetic Coffee. That's in the Best South building at 899 Main Street. 899 Main Street, if you're coming from the west side, it's kind of at the end of Allen Street. If you're coming from the east side, it's behind a lot of the medical campus. Hauptmann Woodward Institute is right over there. And as a matter of fact, surrounding us, the whole building is Best South. So come at us from Allen, come at us from Carlton, or just find the Best South building and join us. And come down for some free swag and a chance to say hello. If you're a regular listener, you know Mark Swarts. He's on every morning from 6 a.m. until 11. That's quite the shift. That's a long time to be talking on the radio.
Well, I enjoy it. I really do. And Peter, I think we should tell the folks why we're here. This is our winter membership drive, and you were talking about the different features of our YouTube channel, the WNED live on stage events and that sort of thing, all kinds of features. If you're a regular viewer of our YouTube channel, know this, it's made possible through member support. That is financial contributions from viewers and listeners just like you. So that's why we're here, asking for your pledge of support during our winter membership drive. To make a pledge of support, you're watching on YouTube, on your computer, just open up another tab, go to WNED.org and click the donate button. And there it is. You can make a donation, you can take a thank you gift, whatever you would like to do, or you can call 1-877-511-1017. The important thing is that you make a donation. YouTube service, it's not free, it costs something, as does our radio service, the classical music. We're here because of financial support, so thank you for that.
That's absolutely true. We're never going to tell you how much you should pledge. That's entirely up to you. It really is. And I personally, I'm Peter Hall, and I'm going to tell you that you should pledge something. Everybody has some amount that they can contribute to pay back for the wonderful music service that you've enjoyed probably for years. If you've just found us today, that's great. You're in for some wonderful future listening. I guarantee it. We have an enormous classical music library that's continued to grow, and it's kind of fun. We have, the ones you've heard of. We have Mozart, we have Beethoven, we have, I don't know, let's go a little farther afield. What do we have? Rossini and Verdi and other opera composers.
Yeah.
We have somebody coming up in just a moment. What composer do we have next?
Well, we're listening to Schubert right now. We're going to have a little movie music up next.
Movie music, trying to keep it mixed up. Not only movie music, but we also play video game music.
Yes.
Which some folks, think is kind of lightweight, but it's not.
It's good stuff.
Video game music is where it's at. The best composers in Hollywood are doing video game music. The best musicians in Los Angeles are recording video game music, and we like to play it. But we can only play it if you help us out with a financial contribution by calling 1-877-511-1017.
Okay. And we just listened to Claudio Abbado and the Chamber Orchestra of Europe, the fourth movement from Schubert's Symphony No. 1 on WNED Classical. Thank you so much for tuning in this morning. Mark Swarts here with Peter Hall. We're at Unapologetic Coffee in the Best Self building at 899 Main Street. We're going to be here live until 11. Why do people say live? Of course we're live. We're not dead. We're going to be here until 11 o'clock this morning. Come on down, say hello. Hopefully, if the weather conditions, the streets are okay where you are, you can make it down. If not, we're on YouTube, the Buffalo Toronto Public Media YouTube channel. Check us out there. You can see our pretty faces, or not so pretty, whatever, however. But the reason we're here is because it is the winter membership drive, and we're asking for your financial support at 1-877-511-1017. You can also donate at WNED.org.
And while you're watching us, we thought we'd share a little bit behind the scenes. Now, we are at Unapologetic Coffee. This is not a broadcast booth. But were we back at the broadcast booth, let's sort of take you back to the early days when you started. Now, I'm not talking high school radio,
Right,
but I'm
right.
talking about, professional radio.
Yeah.
Were you exclusively playing, LPs or 45s?
We played both. The first station I was on was a pop country blend. It was FM 104, now WHTT. And I was on overnights. I thought, oh, wow, I get to be on all night long. But it was a lot of fun. We were in the Lafayette Hotel before it was refurbished. Rat and mice infested, and some other unsavory things going on back then. But then we moved out. We moved into the Hilton Hotel just across from where WNED is now.
Yeah.
And we were there for quite a few years. So it was a kick. I was a teenager, and I was on the radio. What fun.
What fun. We, back in the day when we wanted to cue up a record, what you would do is, off air, you would take the LP and you'd move it back and forth, just the way DJs at a music rave do now.
Right.
And you'd hear the and you'd get it queued up just right, and you'd hold your thumb on the record while the turntable was spinning underneath, and then you'd make the announcement, take your thumb off, and bang, the music would be right there. Times have changed so much. we
Yes,
don't
they
have to cue anything up anymore.
No.
It's already queued up. You just push the button. So let's see. You've done obviously 45s and LPs.
Yeah.
Did you? When you had to play underwriting or ads, did you need the
Those
8-track
were on
cards?
those were on cartridges.
Yeah.
So it looked like an 8-track. It was
Right.
2-track because it was stereo. But yeah, we had a cartridge machine, and you would play the commercials on that. And some of the music was on that too.
Right.
We actually had an automated service on cassettes, and that was a hoot. So we tried all the latest technology. Speaking of technology, can we bring it back to where we are now?
Sure.
So we've got the YouTube channel. We've got this great classical music service on FM. We've got it on the website. We've got it on the phone app. All of this technology, all of the latest, is made possible because of financial contributions from listeners and viewers just like you. So that's why we're here and asking
great
for
point.
your pledge of support. 1-877-511-1017, or you can donate at WNED.org.
Oh, but as they say, but wait, there's
wait,
more.
there's more.
We also have something totally cool now.
Oh.
If you have a digital TV, channel 17.4, I believe.
Oh, yeah, this
we
is
have
new.
a roof cam with a beautiful shot of the Buffalo skyline, and in the background, you're listening to WNED Classical.
right.
It's very relaxing. I know it sounds like, really? Just trust me on that one. If you have a TV, digital TV, channel 17.4, look for the the Buffalo skyline. Listen to the classical music. So you're right. We're on the regular radio. We're on HD radio, which most people only access through their cars, but
Right.
nevertheless, there we are. We are on YouTube. We are on the smartphone app.
That's right,
Yeah.
right.
And I
And
know I'm
smart
missing
devices.
something. Oh, right. Your
Alexa
smart speaker.
or Siri or whatever.
Oh, you're allowed to say that on the air?
Oh, sorry.
I used to say the name of the proprietary device, but people would complain saying, when you say that on the radio, my smart speaker hears it and turns on.
That actually happened to my wife at home listening.
Oh, yeah. Well, I know one night we were watching Jeopardy back in the day of Alex Trebek. Oh, boy, that really set it off.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
That really set it off. Okay, enough of that. What we're here to do is to encourage you to, come down to Unapologetic Coffee, grab a really smooth cup of coffee. Kudos to them. They've got it down here. And also get some free swag. So if you're a fan of WNED, come here now and get some swag and make a donation on the way.
That's right, 1-877-511-1017. We're going to go back to music. We've got a little movie music now. This is a suite of music from Howard Shore, Lord of the Rings.
Ooh.
Gotta love it on WNED Classical. All right, Mark Swartz here with Peter Hall. We're at Unapologetic Coffee, 899 Main Street. We're in the Best Self building. And the reason we're here is because it's the WNED Classical Winter Fundraising Drive, asking for your pledge of support at 1-877-511-1017 or at WNED.org.
And if you are anywhere in the Allen Street vicinity or anywhere in the Buffalo Medical Campus, we're kind of at the end of Carlton Street, Hauptmann Woodward, Roswell, right over there. We're in the Best Self building, 899 Main Street. Come on down, get a great cup of coffee at Unapologetic Coffee, get some free swag courtesy of WNED Classical. Meet Mark Swartz, your morning host. I'm Peter Hall. I'm on Sunday and Monday nights, so
Right,
this
that's
is a little bit out of my bailiwick, but this is your time, baby. You gotta be good now because this is your
I've had
regular.
my coffee,
He's
so
had
I'm
his
doing
coffee.
very well now. Yes, but Peter's on all the time. He's always filling in for when us people, terrible people, have to take a vacation or a holiday.
Yeah, what's
or
up with
something.
these vacations you
I
people
know.
take?
I
Oh, my
know.
gosh. Hey, we're here to raise the dollars to keep the classical music in your life. Classical music that you've come to know and love, and classical music that has expanded your horizons and your definition of what classical music is. It's as simple as just constant listening. That's where you pick up a lot of good ideas about classical music. And of course, one of the best segments we have is Joanne's Classical
Oh,
Corner. You do that Monday through Friday with
That's right.
Joanne Folletta.
Right.
That's a lot of topics in a month. I mean,
It's a
at
lot of
least
topics.
20.
And they're also always very interesting. She's a very good speaker, and as
Oh,
an
yeah.
interviewer, I just start it and she just takes off. She's great.
It's a great way. I always tell it, you could spend a lot of money and take a course in classical music, or you could just listen to Joanne's
right,
Classical Corner, 8:30s in the morning, 5:30s in the afternoon. Twice a day, Joanne Folletta talks about classical music with Mark Swartz, who's sitting right here in front of the camera. All of that is broadcast possible. All of those broadcasts are made possible courtesy of member support. So please be generous and call now 1-877-511-1017, and thank you.
James Galway was the flutist, Klaus Peter Zeibel the conductor of the London Symphony. That was the Lord of the Rings suite, 2001, that first movie, Lord of the Rings, The Fellowship of the Ring. Oh, I love that stuff, Peter.
It's great.
And Mark Swartz here with Peter Hall. We're at Unapologetic Coffee. Not apologizing at all for being here. We love being here and love the coffee. Asking for your pledge of support at 1-877-511-1017. If you're listening right now to WNED Classical, you can also see us. We're on YouTube at the Buffalo Toronto Public Media YouTube channel. Check it out. Or better yet, come on down to Unapologetic Coffee and say hello.
We're at 899 Main Street. If you're on the west side, just come down Allen Street and you'll find us. Or if you're on the east side, go to the medical campus. We're in a building that's accessible pretty close to Hauptmann Woodward, Roswell. We're in that general part of the town. Come on down, have a great cup of coffee. Very smooth coffee. I'm
Very nice.
very pleased
Yes.
to report. And also we have some free swag. But we're really here to raise the dollars to bring classical music to Western New York and Southern Ontario. And once again, Southern Ontario, Canadian pledges taken at par. And our international phone number is 1-877-511-1017. Or go online, as so many do now, to WNED.org. Just follow the prompts, answer the questions, and make that donation. You can make a one-time donation, or as more and more and more and more and more people are doing, become a sustainer. A sustainer is a person who sets an amount, forgets about it, and it just carries forward. You already do that with subscription services that you know and love. Let's say you do it with Netflix, or maybe you do it with some other. It's actually how I do all my utilities.
Oh, yeah.
I never want to get one of those weird. When I was young, I used to get letters from the gas and the electric company all the time. It's
see,
like, ooh, yeah, I know I'm a little bit late. But, hey, Fortunately, those days are behind me. I never want to get one of those letters again. So that's how I pay my utility bills.
Right.
And that's how I subscribe to WNED Classical. Because I never want to be in the position of wondering, did I make a contribution? Did I do it? Well, do it once, today, right now. Become a sustainer by calling 1-877-511-1017. And thanks.
Yeah, absolutely. You know, we were talking on the YouTube channel while the music was playing on WNED Classical. We were talking about technology and how far radio technology has come. Just being on AM, of course, to start, and then on FM. And, you know, then we got on FM stereo. That was big stuff. And we went from records to CDs and cassettes, and now we're all digital. Everything's on the computer. We have a huge library. But all of this takes money. So not only are we on FM with the great digital library that we have, but we're also on the smart speaker, we're on your phone, we're on the website. People listen to us, the snowbirds down in Florida. Hello, everyone down in Florida. South Carolina, wherever you are enjoying the lovely warmer weather rather than in Buffalo, that all takes dollars. If you're a listener from out of town and listening from to WNED Classical, you know you appreciate the service because you probably don't have that service where you are. So we're asking for your pledge of support at 1-877-511-1017. That's how it's all made possible, your financial contributions.
And you've heard of these people called venture capitalists. You know, they take a chance. You know, people pitch them an idea. We've got an idea, 24-hour classical music station, you know, and they have to decide, is this going to fly or not? This radio station has been here almost 48 years. This is not a venture. This is a going thing.
Guaranteed
but
now.
Is it guaranteed into the future?
Well,
that's
the
why
question.
we're here.
That's
exactly.
right. That's right. It's happened because of people just like you in the past that said in 1977 and through the 80s and the 90s and the early 2000s, this is a service that I love. This is a service that I want to keep in my life. Now, do you want to keep it in your life going forward? That's the question at hand. That's why we're asking for your support at 1-877-511-1017. Make a donation when you call. Make a donation online at WNED.org. Make a donation with your phone in the free WNED phone app. However you want to do it, you can do it. But the important thing is, please do it. 1-877-511-1017 or at WNED.org.
You know, I was thinking the other day, we read about a restaurant closing, you know, and it was like, oh, that restaurant's closing. And I said to my wife, yeah, they're closing. When was the last time we actually went and bought some food there? You know, maybe it was a year ago. Restaurants can't get by on people, you know, once in a while.
Right.
They need regular support.
Right.
So if you've ever had a restaurant close on you and you go, doggone, why did they do that? They did it because the support wasn't there. That's not going to happen here because the support is here, and it's going to increase right now by one person, you. 1-877-511-1017 is the number to call.
Are you signaling to us to wrap this up, Joe?
Yes, I am.
All right, because we have to get back to music. And the music at hand is the Dancer Polka by Josef Strauss on WNED Classical. on YouTube. Oh, hi, YouTube. Glad you could join us. Mark Swarts here, Peter Hall there, and we're at Unapologetic Coffee. Hang on, we're going to go on the radio. 5 seconds.
Stand by.
Christian Thielemann with the Vienna Philharmonic, the Dancer Polka by Josef Strauss on WNED Classical, your classical music service brought to you by Buffalo Toronto Public Media, which is brought to you by you, of course. I'm Mark Swarts with Peter Hall, and we're asking for your pledge of support during our winter membership drive. And not only that, we're live at Unapologetic Coffee, 899 Main Street in the Best Self building. We would love to have you come down. We're here for another hour till 11 o'clock this morning. Love to see you. If you want to swing by, grab a great cup of coffee and say hello. If you're on the radio or listening on the radio and you can't come down, you can see us on YouTube, the Buffalo Toronto Public Media YouTube channel. Why are we here? We're here because this is the winter membership drive asking for your pledge of support. Your financial support makes everything happen here at WNED Classical and Buffalo Toronto Public Media. The number to call to make a financial contribution is 1-877-511-1017. You can also donate online at WNED.org.
Now, I want to ask you to unpack a word that you just used. You told listeners that this is, there. You said this is your public radio station.
I did.
What do you mean by your? Don't we have an owner? Isn't there some fat cat sitting there, raking in the dollars?
Right.
Kind of like Scrooge McDuck?
Right. No, we don't. And that's the difference between a commercial station and a public station. So, yes, we do get funding from underwriters and government sources, which may or may not be there anymore. But over 50% of our funds comes from listeners. You are the public in public media. And that's why it's so necessary for a financial contribution from you. You like WNED Classical? Thanks for listening. But know this, if your financial contributions weren't there and don't continue into the future, we won't be here. I'll have to get a job here at Unapologetic Coffee or something like that, which wouldn't be bad. I'm not, change of pace, whatever. But then we wouldn't be able to listen to WNED Classical while we're working at the coffee shop. Please make a donation in all seriousness. 1-877-511-1017.
Oh, we're getting a lot of hits from folks viewing YouTube in the Toronto area. So the GTO, thanks for joining us. That's great. Of course, a lot of Canadians love WNED Classical because we are a pretty consistent product. CBC is great, but sometimes they're on with classical, sometimes they're not. We always have classical, 24 hours a day. Mark was going through the iterations, how we've gone from LPs to CDs. Now we're fully digital. We used to just be on the radio. And the thing I wanted to mention is we used to just be on the radio 18 hours a day.
Right.
And I remember, when we went to 24 hours, woo, this is like a very big
mono
deal.
We were.
Yes, in beautiful mono. And then we were like in stereo. But all of those changes were all supported by folks calling 1-877-511-1017. So if you've never joined us before and you're just sort of dipping your toe in classical music, that's great. Welcome aboard. But the reason that the playlist that we have is so extensive and so varied, the reason that the quality of your listening is so good, the reason that there are so many platforms to choose from on your smartphone, on your smart speaker, in your car, on HD, terrestrial radio, all of those choices, 17.4 digital TV with a beautiful shot of the Buffalo skyline and WNED Classical in the background. All of those things are supported by members, folks who voluntarily call 1-877-511-1017 and make a donation of their choosing, but I'll throw out at least $5 a month. Can you handle that? Let's try that for starters, okay? $5 a month, that'll work for most people. So let's get back to why we're here. classical music.
That's right, classical music, 1-877-511-1017. Thank you to everyone who's made a donation. Now, will you make a donation? Let's do that while we get back to music on WNED Classical.
Okay. Welcome, YouTubers. I'm Peter Hall here with Mark Swarts. Mark Swarts, your regular morning host. These days, I'm semi-retired. Thought I was retired, but au contraire, mon frère. So I'm regularly on Sunday evenings and Monday evenings as well.
And
Having
whenever
a great
we
time.
need him, when someone wants a time
And
off,
if
here
somebody
comes
needs
Peter.
a
He's
day
back.
off, who shall remain nameless. No, we're all friends here. We help each other out. And that's why we're here right now, asking you to be one of our friends, and let's help each other out to continue great classical music here in Western New York and Southern Ontario. For almost 48 years, since April 1977, we have been broadcasting classical music, and we fully intend to do that for another 48 years. But how can that happen without your help, you ask? Well, that's a big question. That's why we're here right now asking you to contribute some dollars towards the classical music you enjoy. It's easy to do. You can call if you want to talk to a live person, 1-877-511-1017. So as I like to say, stealing this from some other ad campaign somewhere, we have people if you want them, but technology if you don't. If you don't feel like chatting with anyone, that's cool. On your computer, laptop, whatever, go to WNED.org. If you have the app, just click on the red donate button and it'll take you to the same basic place where you fill out some easy information, your name, your address, your phone number, and then the big enchilada is how much do you want to pledge. We suggest whatever works for you, but if you break whatever you think is a good size into monthly amounts, it's so affordable, so affordable. We call that the Sustainer Program. I'll leave you with that phone number, and Mark looks like he wants to say something. 1-877-511-1017.
Well, we've got about a minute before we go back to radio, but next YouTube break, Peter, I want to get into your background. You were asking me about how I got into radio and technology, but I would be very interested to know
I think
about Peter's background. We don't have time right now.
The court has sealed those records. I'm not at liberty to say.
Okay. Anyway, we're getting back to radio, so stand by. That was Robert McDuffie playing violin with Eric Kunzel in the Cincinnati Pops, the Caprice Viennois, Fritz Kreisler music from 1910 on WNED Classical. Good morning, I'm Mark Swartz. Peter Hall is joining me, but we're not at the radio station. We're at Unapologetic Coffee, quite unapologetically, I might add, at
Yes.
899 Main Street. That's in the Best Self building. If you want to stop on by, we're here until 11 o'clock. If you don't want to stop on by, but check us out, you can see us on YouTube. We're at Buffalo Toronto Public Media. Just go to YouTube on the web or on your phone and pull up Buffalo Toronto Public Media, and you'll see the live cam there. There we are. The reason we're here and the reason that we're together this morning is because it's the winter membership drive asking for your financial support. If you're just tuning in, what it's all about is we're public radio, and we rely on financial support from you, the listener. Please make a donation if you haven't already at 1-877-511-1017 or at WNED.org.
And let me unpack that word public for just a second. Now, there are, you've heard of like public swimming pools, and maybe you have to pay a small fee to use the pool, maybe you don't, but you're not responsible for the whole upkeep of the pool. Very often there's some tax dollars there, okay? You've heard of public transportation. You're not responsible for the upkeep of all the infrastructure, but you're asked to pay a little bit to ride on the subway or the bus. Well, it's the same here. We're not asking you to take on a huge burden of all the wires and digital equipment we have. What we are asking you to do is to help pay a little bit to defray the costs of your enjoyment. You want to swim in the pool, you want to ride on the bus, you want to listen to classical music, we're asking you to pay a little bit. How much is a little bit? Well, that's entirely up to you. Some folks, $5 a month, that's what they do. Other folks, $10, $15, $20, $25 a month. We have a couple of fat cats, major donors. They come out of the woodwork every once in a while when we have pledge drives to offer challenges.
Right,
But,
right.
I'm not asking you to be one of those folks either. I'm just asking you to do what is affordable for you. And again, if $5 or $10 a month works, well, it certainly works for us. The phone number is 1-877-511-1017. We have people there if you want to chat, 1-877-511-1017. But we also have technology if you just want to keep it on the DL. You can go to the website, WNED.org, or click the donate button on the free smartphone app. Do you believe there are people out there who do not have that smartphone app on their phones?
Kidding.
Unbelievable.
It is unbelievable. I can't believe it. A lot of folks have that smartphone app, especially if they're going out of town for the winter, or just going out of town for a little vacation. They take WNED Classical with them. All that technology comes out of the financial contributions from listeners just like you. That's why we're asking for your financial support. Oh, I do want to mention,
Yes.
if you go on the website or on your phone app and click the donate button, you can see the whole list of thank you gifts.
Oh, yeah.
They're all there. I love to, you can ask the operator too at 1-877-511-1017, and they'll dutifully read the whole list and what's available at certain amounts. But if you go on the website, you can see the whole list there, and that can help you make a decision too of how much you want to give.
True.
On a monthly basis, a one-time gift, whatever. All the thank you gifts are there. Some great stuff there. The important thing is that you make a donation, thank you gift or not. 1-877-511-1017 or at WNED.org.
Speaking of thank you gift or not, if you come down right now and visit us at Unapologetic Coffee, we're inside the Best Self building at 899 Main. 899 Main is kind of where Allen Street
Near
joins
Allen, yeah.
us. It's kind of where Carlton comes in from the other side. Well, at any rate, you get the idea. Speaking of thank you gifts, we have some thank you gifts for you that would be just free swag for dropping by. We've had a couple interesting visitors so far. We've had Joe came by.
Right, my friend
a
Joe
longtime
from
listener.
Clarence,
Yeah.
yeah.
CJ came by, said she's a big fan. That's cool. So, but where are you? You could be down here too, grabbing a great cup of coffee, getting some free swag. You don't have to make your pledge. No, it's going to cost you at the door.
You must make a donation. No. We never do that.
I'm thinking of those old cartoons where they take the person and they hold him by his ankles and shake him upside down till the coins drop out. We're not doing
No,
that.
we won't.
We just have wonderful coffee and some free swag.
That's right. 1-877-511-1017. Peter, the reason we're here is because of the music, right? WNED classical music. Let's get back to it. One of my favorite composers, J.S. Bach. We're going to hear the Sinfonia from the cantata number 188. I Have My Confidence is the name of it, performed here by the English Baroque soloists on WNED Classical. Hey, Mark Swarts here with Peter Hall at Unapologetic Coffee, 899 Main Street. We're in the Best Self building, and the reason we're here is because it's the WNED Classical Winter Fundraising Drive, asking for your pledge of support. Thank you. We know we've got a bunch of YouTube viewers right now, so
yes.
Hello everyone. Thanks for tuning in, and thanks for making a donation if you haven't already at 1-877-511-1017 or at WNED.org.
It's kind of a crazy business model when we say thank you for making a donation. You didn't have to make a donation to our YouTube channel. It's there for everybody. You don't have to make a donation to listen to WNED Classical. It's there for everybody 24 hours a day. But if you're in a position to make that donation, as so many of us are, we ask that you do that because we are public radio, meaning we are primarily supported by the public who actually listens to this music. Now, I got to tell you, a lot of people are not listening. You know, a lot of people have a real attitude about classical music. Oh, you know, I don't want to listen to that stuff. That's fine. They have their own music. That's great. They're not going to be listening. They're not going to be calling 1-877-511-1017. But you are listening, and that's why we think that you, quote unquote, should make a donation of some amount. And I can say should because I'm not going to tell you how much to pledge, but, you know, do what works for you. For some folks, that's $5 a month. For some, it's 10, 15, 20, all sorts of different amounts. We have thank you gifts. I think there's a $25 a month thank you gift. That's a cool one. I think it's a digital subscription to the New York Times.
Okay.
Wow, that's pretty cool. Major newspaper delivered to your inbox every day. All sorts of wonderful information there. But there are other thank you gifts, you know, at the $10, $12.50 level. It's all over the map. And the reason for that is simply because your finances are different. We'd like to hear from you at 1-877-511-1017.
And thank you for tuning in to YouTube and watching us this morning. Mark Swarts with Peter Hall. Peter, I wanted to get back to your early days, your start in radio. How did you get into the radio scene?
Well, let's see.
Is that too hard of a question?
Yeah. As with you in high school, now when you went to Amherst Central High School, you had a radio station.
Right.
We didn't, but we did have morning announcements.
Oh, yeah.
So I, always volunteered to do the morning announcements.
Yeah.
And I was, I was a theater kid. I thought I was so cool.
You were.
Hey, let me on the microphone. So Well, that was that. And then when I went to college, the college I went to, whatever club there was, they were really snooty. And I went to visit the guys in the radio, and they were just, I don't know, they were full of themselves. I said, this is not for me. However, after college, back in Buffalo, I decided I wanted to be more involved in music, and I volunteered at WBFO.
Oh, okay.
The very same WBFO that's now part of public, Buffalo Toronto
At
Public
that time,
Media.
it was just run by UB.
It was just UB, and in the old the old
Campus,
Allen Hall,
wasn't
the
it?
South Campus.
Yeah.
At any rate, so I was a volunteer there, announcing classical music in the afternoon, and then on Sundays we had a program called Listener's Choice that was the request show, classical music request show.
Wow.
So. So I did that for several years. So that was my kind of official start in radio
I see.
in the mid 1970s, announcing classical music on WBFO. Then I went off and did many other things. And one of them, for a little while, I was at Canisius High School. Canisius College, working in their admissions department. And I was also teaching Sunday school with a name that will resonate with some folks in Buffalo, Goldie Gardner, who used to be on TV and radio a lot.
Yeah.
And Goldie approached me one day after we taught a Sunday school class and said, they could use someone like you at WNED. You should apply. Went down and applied. There's more to the story, but that brings us up to how I walked in the door.
We're going to get back to the radio. John Elliott Gardner with the English Baroque soloist, the Sinfonia from Cantata number 188 by Johann Sebastian Bach on WNED Classical. Well, good morning. Mark Swarts here with Peter Hall, and we are at Unapologetic Coffee, 899 Main Street in the Best Self building, and we're here talking to you on the radio. We're here talking to you on YouTube. We're here talking to folks in the coffee shop for our winter membership drive, asking for your pledge of support at WNED.org or at 1-877-511-1017. And Peter Hall, we have a guest right now.
We certainly do. One of the co-owners with her twin sister of Unapologetic Coffee. Alicia, welcome to the microphone.
Hi,
and I guess you too.
Me. Thank you both.
Now, I think you've done this before.
We've done this before a couple weeks ago.
Yeah.
Okay.
So for folks who weren't viewing on YouTube or listening back then, first off, just so everyone is clear, it's a beautiful full-service coffee shop.
Yeah,
the coffee is phenomenal.
Yeah.
Thank you for that. And it's quite good. And also, you and your twin sister decided to start this coffee service. And how did you choose the name Unapologetic?
So when we started looking at names, we actually had a completely different name. what happened was, like many black businesses, there's a time where we get told by our marketing company that our black faces were not going to be accepted by mass media. And my sister, in the realm of Zoom, did not realize she was unmuted, and she said, "I can't help it. We're unapologetically black." And so that was the name change. Swear to God, that was how it changed. We were sitting there on Zoom, and I was like holding my face up, like, I can't believe you said that. But in a way, she set the tone for the company as a brand. So what started as our unapologetic story became a cultural unapologetic story, regardless of race, sex, gender, and then it just keeps expanding that way. So unapologetic coffee for us may be one thing, but unapologetic coffee for another person may be a completely different story.
Right.
Well, I really have to commend you. I am in awe of small business owners. I mean, you guys have nerves of steel. How do you sleep at night?
I got a great therapist, actually. I have a really stern schedule. My sister and I, we touch base almost every day about something going on. We just had a brand new roaster delivered yesterday, a new state-of-the-art roaster to expand our capacity in Buffalo. So, yeah.
So where we are right now is like a coffee shop with, tables and displays and food and everything.
Right.
So the roaster must be somewhere else.
Yeah, the roaster is actually a hop and a skip away over at Maine and Utica, where we first started. We originally had a cafe and roaster inside, but we kind of outgrew ourselves. And when the opportunity came up to move down the street, we thought it was a great opportunity, and we just jumped at it. So we still have our roasting down there. We still import all of our coffee around the world from farms. And we just really wanted to stay close as possible to our family roots. We live within the neighborhood, so it's been a great avenue.
I think it's great. I was mentioning before, because it's happened to me and my wife, a restaurant that, we thought we liked, quote unquote, closed. And then she'll say, "Oh, it's closed. This is a shame." And I'll say, "Yeah, but when's the last time we were actually there giving them some business?"
Right.
So it's kind of the same thing with us right now. We're talking about classical music on the radio. We're asking folks to call 1-877-511-1017 and make a donation to keep classical music. But I'm also asking folks who believe in minority-owned, women-owned businesses in Buffalo to get off your duff, as my mother used to say, and come on down and buy a great cup of coffee here at Unapologetic. 899 Main, if you don't know, it's kind of where Allen comes into Main Street. If you were coming from the other way, it would be Carlton, I guess, the Hauptman Woodward and Roswell. I hope you get a lot of business from the medical corridor.
We do.
Good.
They've been completely supportive. The Buffalo Medical Campus, the Best Self offices have been really supportive. They were huge advocates like we were for community outposts, and I think it just speaks for itself, and then you see this new space.
Yeah, it's pretty cool.
That is.
I don't want to hog the microphone here, but I have one more question.
Okay, go ahead.
Okay.
We have about a minute and a
You
half.
have some really clever names, like you have two different coffees, one's Hustle and one's Flow. I kind of get that, Hustle and Flow. But the one I want to ask you about is, am I going to get this wrong? It's the I said what I said.
I said what I said, yeah.
Where did that come from?
Well, that actually came from, we were just sitting there going back to the name, and we were constantly pushing for the best coffee, and part of that is supporting all the growers around the world. And we put out just a call to action that we're only going to buy from family-owned farmers. And my sister's like, I said what I said. So in a way, we took a cut on our profitability to help the farmer, and that's where it came from. So it was just like, it's like our would-be brand, our namesake coffee.
Okay. Well, there are a lot of coffee choices in Buffalo, but
Yeah.
I'm totally enjoying my coffee here. So it's a great place. $8.99 Unapologetic Coffee. $8.99 Main.
Main Street in the Best Self building. Well,
Inside the
thank you
Best
so
Self.
much.
Thank you for
It's
having
been
me.
great talking to you.
Thank you both.
And it's a great cup of coffee, as Peter said. Stop on down. We'd love to see you too. But we are getting back to the music. As you make a donation to WNED Classical at 1-877-511-1017. Slavonic Rhapsody number 3 is up next by Dvorak on WNED Classical. welcome. I'm Mark Swarts. This is Peter Hall next to me, and we are here for WNED Classical. Thank you for joining us on YouTube. We're in the winter membership drive asking for your pledge of support, financial contribution to WNED Classical. That's what makes things happen. That's what makes the YouTube videos possible. All the great YouTube WNED Live on Stage and the digital series at PBS. It's all there because of your financial contribution. So we're asking for your contribution, whether you listen to classical on a regular basis or WBFO or TV. 1-877-511-1017 is the number to call. And Peter Hall is here. Peter, I wanted to get back to where we left off. How I know you got into radio. Your first real thing was at BFO,
Right.
and they were at UB.
Right.
And you were doing the all request show on
Right,
Sunday afternoons.
yeah, it was Sunday. The request show was Sunday evenings,
Sunday
and then Monday through Friday in the afternoons. Before All Things Considered,
Okay.
we would have 2 or 3 hours of classical music.
Okay.
And the theme, the theme music for that was Prokofiev's Classical Symphony. How appropriate.
Yes,
So
yes.
anyway, those were the days back in the '70s,
Mhm.
and then I went about my my other life, and ended up here at WNED. Actually, I came in as director of membership.
Oh.
In other words, in charge of asking folks to call 1-877-511-1017, and it was a real, get thrown into the fire right away. All of a sudden, I was on TV. I was on the news radio, I was on the classical radio,
We're
asking
all over.
folks to call 1-877-511-1017.
And
I
didn't
must
you, do
say,
didn't you do a kids show too on TV?
no,
Or was
we
that
didn't have a
somebody
kids
else?
show. We used to ask for money around the children's programming in the morning.
Oh, that's what
And
it
then
was.
at some point we decided, let's not do that anymore.
I see,
But
okay.
so those were great days. The reason I enjoyed it so much was, man, we were on, I forget, something unbelievable at 7 a.m. until noon. Solid wall-to-wall pledging kids shows, a lot of breaks. And you know that Malcolm Gladwell book in which he says to be an expert, you got to do something for 10,000 hours? And I went back and calculated, that's where I got my 10,000 hours
Wow.
in
Yeah.
pledging children's shows. But at any rate. And then 1998, Peter Goldsmith, bless him, hope you're listening up there, PG. Peter Goldsmith asked if I would consider being an announcer because he knew, I was a regular at Kleinhans. I went to all the chamber music concerts, went to all the Philharmonic concerts. I had for years. My first date ever in life, I took a girl to hear the Budapest String Quartet play Beethoven.
Oh, you swinging guy.
I
you.
really showed her a wild time there. I think we got snacks out of the machine at Baird Hall back on the South Campus, and my first date with my wife was also chamber music. Only this time it was at Kleinhans Music Hall.
Okay,
So
all
it's
right.
it's a proven formula, Mark. you know?
Yes, okay. I didn't know. Well, now we know, folks.
Now we know. You want to impress a girl, take her to some chamber music.
Now, you were on BFO, and sometimes they played classical music,
Right.
and sometimes news and other
Yeah.
programs. And those were the days in the early 70s when there was no full-time classical music station.
Amen.
And I think when we took over 94.5, it was WEBR FM. I think it was a beautiful music station at that time.
Right, yeah.
And then we changed to all classical. So that was the first full-time classical music service back in 1977. And it started as a public music station, not commercial. So they were really taking a chance back then because it hadn't been done before, at least not here in Buffalo.
No, it was a huge chance. Yeah, Mike Collins used to tell us the story of, trying to get funding, trying to find angels, venture capitalists, banks,
right.
anybody who would believe in what his vision was. And finally, it did come together, but it wasn't a slam dunk. It took quite a while to make it happen. So God bless him for putting in the effort.
Right.
And as I mentioned, his first choice for music director was a fellow named Peter Goldsmith, a name that might be resonant still with many folks. Peter has passed on, but we still do, what he told us to do. He really set the stage very, very well moving forward. And, I remember at one point I was, I was doing the classical music request show here at WNED Classical. It was a noontime show.
Okay.
But I charted out my career path. There I am in the mid-'70s doing classical music by request. There I am in the early 2000s doing classical music by request.
Okay, we're going to have to put a pause on that story. We're going back to radio here. All right, we are back. Thank you for joining us on YouTube. Mark Swarts here with Peter Hall at Unapologetic Coffee at 899 Main Street, the Best Self building. Come on down, we're here till 11. Get some free swag, say hello, we'd love to see you. Tell your friends that we're here. We're also on WNED Classical asking for donations because we are public radio. And Peter was in the middle of a great story. I don't think we have time to get back to that now, but next break we will. But the important thing is right now that because we're a public music station, we are dependent on financial support. 1-877-511-1017.
Well, I think, part of the story, Mark was asking, how he started here at this station. It was back in 1994. And, we were asking for donations then, as they had been before I got there. So I did the calculation, and basically, Mark, I have been asking folks to call in with membership pledges for 30 years.
Wow.
For 30 years. And why do I do that? Because I believe in it. Do I put my money where my mouth is? Yes, I do. I'm a sustainer here at WNED Classical, and not only am I, but my wife is as well. We both pledge independently because we both listen at different times to different stations, and we love the music. We care about WNED a lot, and we want to make sure that it goes well into the future. So we are what they call major donors, but you don't have to do that. You can be a donor at any level you want. 1-877-511-1017.
Kurt Mazur with the Gewandhaus Orchestra of Leipzig, Slavonic Rhapsody No. 3 from 1878 by Antoni Dvorak on WNED Classical. Good morning, Mark Swarts here with Peter Hall, and we are at Best Self. Actually, we're in Unapologetic Coffee in the Best Self building, 899 Main Street. We're live broadcasting, and we'll be here till 11 o'clock asking for your donations. If you would love to come down, we would love to have you. If you can't come down, that's fine. Check us out on YouTube. We're at the Buffalo Toronto Public Media YouTube channel. You'll see us there. You'll hear us now asking for your pledge of support. That piece of music by Dvorak that you just heard was brought to you by you. 1-877-511-1017. Without your financial support, that Dvorak piece would not have come to you, nor will any of the music in the future come to you without consistent financial support. So it's so necessary for your financial contribution today at 1-877-511-1017, or you can donate at WNED.org.
And is it important to donate? Yes.
Yes.
Story I told, we had a conversation with one of the co-owners here at Unapologetic Coffee. It is an all-woman, all minority-owned operation here in downtown Buffalo. And the story I mentioned is just that common reaction folks have when restaurants close. And people go, oh, geez, it closed? Yeah, it closed. When's the last time you actually bought something at that restaurant?
Oh.
Think about it. Well, you know, when's the last time you were at Unapologetic Coffee? Haven't been at all, and yet you say you support, you know, women-owned businesses, minority businesses. Come on down. We're kind of where Allen Street meets Main, where if this building weren't here, where Carlton would come into Maine. And we're here because we care about this classical music, and we want to make a point that you got to support the things you love. If you want a great cup of coffee, come on down to Unapologetic right now and buy a cup. It is so smooth. If you want great classical music, make that call, 1-877-511-1017. Don't say years from now, oh, geez, you know, where'd they go? Well, we don't think we're going anywhere, but that's entirely dependent on you, whether you call, 1-877-511-1017.
And businesses like Unapologetic Coffee will be here when you support the business. Hey, if you work in downtown Buffalo, work, play, come on down on the weekends, going to the theater or whatever, stop in, say hello, buy a cup of coffee or three. It's great coffee, and they need your support just like WNED Classical needs your support. So, we're coming to you. We are a public music station, service, and we're only here because of financial contributions. You can donate in different ways. If you're listening to us on the app, you can just click the donate button there. Listening online while you're working, a lot of folks do it. The owner here said she listened while she was going to school to WNED Classical, probably on the computer, headphones, whatever. There's a donate button right there on our website, WNED.org. And I love the website, Peter, because you can see all the thank you gifts there, all the different various amounts that you can make a donation. And you can call the old phone number, 1-877-511-1017.
Well, personally, I like the app, and of course, I was joking a little while earlier when I, to quote Captain Renault in the movie Casablanca, I'm shocked to find out that not everyone has the free downloadable smartphone app for WNED Classical. It is a thing of beauty. You can, of course, listen to the music, but you can also, if you know you tuned in late or got distracted or whatever, you can see what Mark or any of us are playing right there on the screen with the album art, you know, and you know, all the detail is there. There's this wonderful little talk to us feature, got a little microphone icon. You click on that and you can leave us a 1-minute message. Boy, talk about easy. You don't have to find our web address or anything. Just hit the button and send us a message. Something you like, something you'd like to see different, make a request, whatever. But get that app now, WNED Classical.
One of my favorite pianists, Peter, and I've seen him on YouTube doing master classes, is John O'Connor. We're going to hear him right now playing the very popular Claire de Lune on WNED Classical.
Just under 5 minutes.
We're
Oh,
on. We're
on.
We're on YouTube.
What? We're on the.
And,
we're
and
on the.
as he's being groomed, you know, there's always someone grooming him. I don't know what it is, but this is how
We
it's
are
done.
on
The
TV.
makeup artist. She brushes off the lint. This is how he's treated at home too, I'm sure. You know, Mark Swarts here with Peter Hall, and we're here because of the WNED Classical fundraising drive. I'm glad we're entertaining all the technicians back there. Asking for your pledge of support in all seriousness, Peter. 1-877-511-1017. Financial support, that's what makes it happen. That's what keeps us on the air, on the radio, on the smartphone app, on the website, and on YouTube. 1-877-511-1017.
Now, our producer, Joe, said, when we said, what are we going to talk about? He said, well, tell folks, you know, why they should contribute, and I think you know why. You love the classical music. It's a public radio station. Ain't nobody else lining up to throw money at this station for your behalf. You want the music, you kind of got to pay for it yourself. That's how it's done, you know? I mean, every once in a while, yeah, you've had people pay it forward sometimes. You know, you go to pay the toll, and every once in a while, the toll taker will say, oh, the car ahead of you paid your toll. That's not a sustainable program. When we say sustainer, what we mean is that you make that monthly contribution. And the best thing is you don't have to remember to do it. You don't have to do anything extra. You just have to tell whoever answers the phone at 1-877-511-1017, you want to be a sustainer. You set it up once, whether it's through your EFT, your bank account, or whether it's through a credit card, whichever, then it happens automatically on a monthly basis, just as so many of the bills that you pay are automatic, and then you're a sustainer.
I love the Sustainer program. You don't have to think about it. You know, you don't have to worry about forgetting it. And which reminds me, you know, there's two things that happen when you get older. One is that you forget things, and the other is
You can't remember, can you?
I forgot. Anyway, we're going back to classical music soon, aren't we, Joe? So I can't do another joke, right?
No.
Thank goodness.
One more. Well, yeah, and Mark does suffer from CRS. He can't remember stuff. He
stuff.
can't remember stuff. So if you
We could go on and on
if
like this,
you
but-
too suffer from CRS, while you're thinking of it right now, call 1-877-511-1017. Actually, there was an article about this.
Yeah.
This is not a joke. It's called the threshold effect. Everybody has the experience. You go into another room and you can't remember why you walked in the room. Just go back to where you were and it'll come back, you know. But it happens.
Yeah.
Before you leave the room and forget what it's all about, please, while you're where you are, pick up your cell phone and call 1-877-511-1017.
We about ready to go back, Joe?
About 30 seconds.
30 seconds and we're back on radio, so stand by.
20 seconds. Stand by.
You know what you're going to say?
I do.
You ready?
That is a classic. Such a soothing piece. John O'Connor at the keyboard there with Debussy's Clair de Lune on WNED Classical. Good morning, Mark Swarts here with Peter Hall, and we are at Unapologetic Coffee, Main Street, 899 Main Street. We're in the Best Self building. We're here for another 15 minutes or so, and we're asking for your pledge of support at 1-877-511-1017. Music like that you just heard, that you listen to, and you tune in on a regular basis, you expect it. Turn it on, there we are. We're here. We've been here for almost 50 years, thanks to financial contributions from listeners. It's a public music service. Over 50% of our income comes from listeners, viewers, just like you. So we're asking for your pledge of support during our winter membership drive at 1-877-511-1017. If you weren't there making support, financial support, giving us financial support, we wouldn't be here today playing great music.
That's true. We are, kind of riding on the backs of the many, many, many people. many are no longer with us, including, for example, my dad. He was a big contributor to WNED Classical. And why that? Why? Because he listened all the time.
Right.
But whether you think you listen all the time or just listen once in a while, we wouldn't be there for that once in a while if it weren't for member support. And that's why we'd like to contribute. Now, Mark, I guess I'm not shocking you with the news that not everybody listens to you from 6 a.m. all the way until 11.
What?
Hanging on your every word. Some people, they get distracted. They're making coffee, they're taking a shower, they're going out to get in their car, they're driving to work. They're doing all sorts of things like that.
Right.
But I always tell people, everybody has that sweet spot when they listen to you in the morning. Maybe because you're on the alarm, it doesn't go, it's
Right,
you
right,
playing
right.
music. And so there's that sweet spot of whatever it is, 20 minutes, 30 minutes or something. Or, they're done with the shower, they're enjoying some coffee at the table. And again, that sweet spot. Well, Mark wouldn't be there for that particular sweet spot for you every morning if it weren't for your annual pledge. So you're not necessarily, contributing to all the music all the time, but when you want the music at a particular time, Mark's going to be there because you made a pledge now for then. 1-877-511-1017 is that number to call.
And I think that's a good point, Peter. Maybe some folks who are listening part-time, just an hour or so a day, they think, I don't really listen enough. I don't really need to make a donation. Someone who listens more, a more regular listener, they're the ones that should be contributing. I think most of our listeners are like you. Maybe listen for half an hour, maybe 2 a day, and they make donations. And it's those donations that allow us to bring this service to you whenever you want. Maybe you listen regularly in the morning. Maybe on the weekend you think, it'd be nice to hear that music on the weekend. Turn it on. There we are.
Yeah.
It's because of financial contributions. So even if you think, well, I don't really listen enough to make it worth my while to make a financial contribution, know that your financial contribution, no matter how long you listen, that's what makes it happen. A little bit here, a little bit there, a little bit from you, a little bit from your neighbor, a little bit from the guy at work, the girl at work, whoever. That's what allows us to bring this service to you day after day after day, year after year after year. We've been here for almost 50 years. So very important, please make a donation if you haven't done so already. 1-877-511-1017. WNED.org, that's our website. You can donate there. You can also donate with your smartphone, the free WNED phone app. And I just got the signal, and we are ready to get back to music, the reason that you make donations for. So let's do that. The Ulster Orchestra here with Joanne Folletta at the helm, the Ritual Fire Dance by Manuel de Falla. Music. Hey, we're back.
Yes.
Mark Swarts here with Peter Hall at Unapologetic Coffee, 899 Main Street in the Best Self building. If you walk by the Best Self building or drive by on a regular basis, you gotta stop in and get a cup of coffee. It's good stuff. And we're here just for another few minutes for WNED Classical, asking for financial contributions at 1-877-511-1017.
That's how it's done. One phone call at a time keeps the music coming to you whenever you want it, 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. We get it here because, you know, we live the reality. I can understand that wherever you are, you might be a little confused by how this public radio station works. It's different from a standard commercial radio station. What they do is they put on music or other programming designed to attract an audience. And then basically they sell your ears or your eyeballs to advertisers. They say, we have a dedicated audience that you could sell to.
1 minute.
And that's how they get their money. We don't do that. We don't sell you. We basically ask you to help us bring you the music. It's a lot less commercial, and we find it, you know, a little classier, a way to operate here when we're bringing you classical music. How do you help us out? By calling 1-877-511-1017 and making that donation. Maybe $5 a month, maybe it's $10, $15 a month. It's entirely up to you. Talk to the person at the other end of the phone and come up with a number that works for you and works for us. Trust me, it really does. Whatever works for you works for us. 1-877-511-1017.
Joanne Folletta there with the Ulster Orchestra, the Ritual Fire Dance from 1915, Manuel de Falla on WNED Classical. Great classical music brought to you by you. Thank you very much. Mark Swarts here with Peter Hall, and we're at Unapologetic Coffee for just another 5 minutes or so, 899 Main Street in the Best Self building, asking for your pledge of support and drinking great coffee.
It is great coffee. Now, my doctor tells me I have to drink decaf.
Oh.
So, you know, not all decafs are created equal.
No.
This is phenomenal.
Yeah.
Their decaf coffee here at Unapologetic is really, really good.
Nice.
I'm enjoying myself immensely. So you could duplicate my experience by coming here yourself to 899 Main. Kind of where Allen meets Maine, kind of where Carlton would meet Maine if it weren't for the Best Self building. But you get the idea. We're in the medical campus area in downtown Buffalo. So come on down, say hello. We have some free swag here if you want to avail yourself. And of course, have some great coffee. They have pastries, fresh fruit, etc., etc. It's quite a place. It's minority owned. It's all women owned. It's what you, in your heart of hearts, wish there were more of in Buffalo.
Right.
So let's support it. Just as WNED Classical is member supported, it's what you wish would be in other cities when you visit, but isn't. So while we have it in Buffalo, not the biggest media market ever, but we've got this little gem. Joanne Folletta has said that many, many times.
Oh, yeah.
She travels around the globe, and she's amazed at the quality of this station here in Buffalo, New York. People in Canada love it. Well, actually, people who listen on their smart speakers around the world love it.
Right.
And I know that you love it too, but we're asking you to put that love into some dollars. Make that monthly contribution, $5, $10, $15 a month, whatever works for you, by calling 1-877-511-1017.
Yeah, Joanne has said many times she goes into a city and there's no classical music station there. Maybe there was in the past, but there ain't no more, and that's because donations fell off. This area supports WNED Classical. This is a great community. You, the listener, you, the viewers, you appreciate Buffalo Toronto Public Media. You put that appreciation into the form of dollars because you know this is a public service. Over 50% of our revenue comes from listeners and viewers just like you. That's why it is so important that you make a donation if you haven't done so already during our winter membership drive at 1-877-511-1017. You can also donate online, of course, at WNED WNED.org. Love going to WNED.org because you can see all the thank you gifts there too when you make a donation.
See all the thank you gifts.
Mm-hmm.
You know, to piggyback on your story about, you know, Joanne Folletta traveling around the country and the world, I remember years ago going, I was down in New Orleans and, you know, got back to the hotel room after midnight, as one does in New Orleans. And anyway, turned on the hotel radio and up and down until I found classical music. And I said, oh, great, classical music. So I put it on and, you know, went to sleep thinking that classical would be with me all night long. Well, au contraire, at 6 a.m., they went to the news format. That was quite a shock. I was used to all 24/7 classical. You don't get that everywhere. You got it here. Support it. 1-877-511-1017.
Thank you very much, Mark Swarts with Peter Hall. Thank you for listening this morning. Marty Wimmer has excellent midday music next on WNED Classical.